Ben is 68 years old. He lives alone and recently returned home from the hospital after a surgery. His daughter calls every day. One morning, when he didn't answer, she checked on him. She found him unconscious. Ben had overdosed on 2 of his medications the night before. A note read, "I want to die. Let me die. Nothing works. Can't shop. Can't take care of myself. No food. Can't think. I want to die."
Ben really highlights a lot of the risk factors for older adult suicide. The loss of independence, I think, is one of the biggest risk factors in older adult suicide, and Ben references so many of them. Can't shop. Well, it seems so easily answered. You got a daughter that calls every day, tell her what you want. That's not the problem. The problem is can't shop, can't decide what I want, go and procure that thing, come back home and enjoy that thing.
I could be the poster boy for older adult male suicide. I'm old, I'm white, and I'm male. The biggest problem is, though, overcoming the stigma that suicide bears, particularly older men, and as well as men in the military and law enforcement and construction won't bring up thoughts of suicide because it makes them appear weak, makes them perhaps feel less reliable to their colleagues. But I think we have to get people to realize that to some degree, suicidal thoughts are normal when you get into situations that we can't manage. That it doesn't mean it has to lead to something, but it's an indicator.
So the more we can accept people and allow them to talk about where they're at and what they're feeling and what they're experiencing, and stay connected to the people in our lives, that's gonna help reduce suicide, reduce depression, increase connection for older adults.
The vast majority, or more than half, the people who die by suicide in this country did not have a diagnosable mental illness. They had things go wrong in their life, economically, with interpersonal life, perhaps legal issues, things like that, that made them feel trapped and made them need to have a way out. Sometimes the best opportunities for prevention were decades before. I'd like to see us do a couple things in this country. One is teach boys how to ask for help. So then become old men like me, they won't be reluctant to do so. We don't do that. We teach boys to do the direct opposite. I mean, asking a 9-year-old boy to man up is kind of sad when you think about it, but we do it all the time.
When we're talking about reasons that older adults die by suicide, it is hard to generalize because as we age, we individuate. We are less and less like one another. If I were to show you a room full of 2-year-olds from all across the globe, you could figure out pretty quickly what child A needs and child B needs. But if I presented you with a room full of 81-year-olds, the opposite is true. Everybody has had different experiences, and even folks who have had the same experiences internalize them in different ways. So if we're talking about why an older adult is thinking about suicide, there's a lifetime of reasons.
I think it's important that we meet older adults where they are, that we see them in their homes and we see them mobile in their communities, because when we know older adults at that level, we're going to be able to better serve them. And in every one of those scenarios, we need to involve screenings that could potentially identify folks that are at risk of suicide.
If we can just start talking about this, normalize it, make it everybody's problem and not some other issue that those poor people are dealing with, but something that could happen to any of us, could happen to any of our parents, could happen to any of our neighbors. The fact that I've been invited to talk to you about it gives me hope, because there's a conversation happening, and that's how these things start.